Yo, and we're live. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 3 of Culture Attack. I am your host, Ruben Prime, back at it again. And of course, I am not alone. And he is currently on life support, but he's a champ. He is definitely a champ for sticking through this. Drew Yari, how you doing, brother?
The ailing Juilliard, he should probably refer to me as.
Yes.
I am, like I mentioned, I am not feeling a hundo, as the kids say. Feeling slightly better than I was this morning,
Yep.
but I will do my best to truck through this podcast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, another week of news, and the internet does not disappoint. And again, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Culture Attack, we're here to discuss everything in pop culture and in entertainment and in wrestling sprinkled in there. And we are on, try to say that 3 times. We are on YouTube. So if you feel inclined to listen to this on YouTube better, if you prefer YouTube over Spotify or iTunes or Google, you can definitely listen to us on YouTube and, of course, on all major digital platforms where you listen to your podcasts. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter. They call it X now. So it's
Mm.
officially X. I mean, I'm still gonna call it Twitter just for the sake of it. But you can follow me on X at Mr. Ruben Prime, and you can follow Mr. Juriari here at DY Experience on
Mm.
X. So, and Drew, what usually we do this at the end, but really quick, what you got going on your end with your content?
Well, as anyone knows, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central Time on Wrestling Soup's Discord, I do the wrestling show with Justin from Spambuster Tees. So we have another one coming up this week on Wednesday. We actually have a Saturday Q&A show aligned with the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view. I still don't call them pay-per-views because PLEs just sound stupid.
Yeah.
So this Saturday we'll be doing a part Q&A and or I guess I should say a part review and part Q&A. Being that the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view is at 12 p.m. Central Time, since it's going to be in Saudi.
Yep.
And of course, like I mentioned, Wednesday is just a prediction show. Um, I also do a kind of like how this show with Ruben, where this show used to be behind a paywall. The other shows are now public. The show I do with RJ, our friend RJ, the Brooklyn Savage, Revenge of the Savage Nerds, where we just talk the nerdy stuff we like, comics, comic book movies, TV shows, sometimes wrestling, but we keep that scarce. And we just put out a new, a new episode for the public, starting being that now it's a public show. So go listen to that. And the show with Jeff Lippman, yeah, I'll need to run it by Jeff to see whenever he wants to do another one, which I'm pretty sure he'll be game to. But that's everything going on with me, other than what's going on with me physically. But yeah.
Nice, nice. And speaking of old content, um, things being behind a paywall, we do have the older episodes that are from the podcast from the Patreon vault. I'm gonna be uploading more in the coming days and weeks, just to
Mhm.
spread them out, just not to bombard people with a bunch of YouTube videos, because I see a
Right.
lot of creators do that, and I'm like, not the best thing to do. I mean, I get it, I understand, but one or two a week is fine, just to spread everything out, because there's a lot of gems, hidden gems there, and clips. The clips are coming. Just trying to find time. Just pretty busy, pretty hectic, but we're gonna get that going. And speaking of, my past content as well, I'm considering bringing back my old podcast, the Room Prime podcast. Considering
That's
bringing that back, especially because it's been crazy 2024. Want to get into, delve deep into the conspiracy side of things and just, talk shop with that. So that's definitely something that I'm planning on doing. Especially now that got a new job starting soon and I'll have my weekends free. So
mhm.
I'll be able to do a lot more. When you actually know your days off in advance, so you can plan things out better, and you're not exhausted. But that's for the future. But now in the present, we got stuff to talk about. We got to talk about X-Men, the season finale, which I thought it was a good season finale for, for a show in a long while. We also got again with the IWC, with the internet wrestling community and their I don't know what to call it. Their just disdain and just imaginary attacks and accusations of people that they don't like. And this is one Tiffany Stratton. We here at Culture Attack, we here at the Experience, and here at Ruben Prime, we do enjoy Tiffany Stratton. We do
Oh,
enjoy Tiffy time when she appears. And
yeah,
yeah,
definitely time.
yeah, agreed. And I have a bone to pick with that, so we're going to talk about that. These racist allegations, people taking things out of context. A big nothing burger, and you will think that that burger will have more meat in it, considering the weight of the members of the IWC. You will think that they will have more meat on the bone, but they actually don't. So we're gonna get into that. We'll, as the Usos will say, we're gonna talk about that later. And then Diddy. Um, Diddy is done because he has is footage of him beating the holy hell out of his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and yeah, it ain't looking good. You can't spin this. You can't wish this away with the magic of PR. And we're gonna talk about that and just the whole Diddy. Well, I don't want to say Diddy train because that sounds nasty. Um, but just the whole Diddy saga that we've been seeing unravel for the past few weeks. But yeah, let's hit the ground running. We're gonna
All
talk
right.
about right now X-Men, like X-Men 97. Overall, what do you think of the season finale? What are your takeaways from the show? Um Overall, what do you think about the season finale, X-Men 97?
I thought it was great. I thought, like you said, it was probably one of the better season finales we've seen for anything, especially I think more so for a Marvel thing because a lot of the season finale things for like their TV shows have been kind of hit or miss. They've either been just okay or bad. This worked. Um, Sorry, you're gonna be hearing me clear my throat. Unfortunately, I'll try to mute as much as I can. But yeah, it worked, and I like the fact that it was like 45 minutes because each episode was, I think, like 20 something minutes, kind of like
Right.
like old school days of cartoons.
Yep.
Um, and there was a lot going on, and it made sense. Like everything didn't clash with each other. Like it didn't feel like you were like the pacing was bad. The pacing was great.
Yep.
The storylines are great. I mean, the villain was great. I don't know much about Bastion. Like I'll be honest, I never even heard of Bastion, and he was
Same.
such a good villain because he. It's weird because like it almost seems like the benchmark for a villain is Homelander. Like he was
Mhm.
kind of Homelander esque, even though like he did have some morality about him,
Yep.
but he was very matter of fact of like, I want to do things my way, and my mom told me that Xavier rejected me, but my mom was actually the one who didn't want Xavier to take me into a school. And I don't know the guy who voiced him. I've seen his face. I just don't know the name. But he was really good. Like he definitely stood out from the other voice actors because like the majority of the voice actors from the original show came back, with the exception of a few. I think the actor who voiced Cyclops, he passed away. So they brought
Yeah.
in, I think his name is Scott Porter or something like that. I believe that's his name. The original Wolverine came back. The original Storm came back. The original Rogue came back. I thought Rogue had one of the better story arcs of the season. Um,
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree.
yeah, especially spoilers. What happened with our boy Remy. She was very much on a revenge tour. Like she
Yep.
didn't give a fuck. Like she wanted answers. She wanted some ass kicking. Done.
Yep.
And just in that last episode where like Bastion's about to blow that ship up, and you just hear his name was Remy, or no, not Remy. His name was Gambit. Remember it?
Yep.
I'm like, that's a good tie-in with the last episode.
Yep.
I thought she was great. Um, and I was talking about this with RJ, where like it was very much an X-Men show, not a Wolverine and the X-Men show, and that's good because this is X-Men, not the Wolverine show. Um, but just being that I'm such a Wolverine fan, I'm like, so is Wolverine gonna do anything? Like, is he just gonna be, in the like window dressing? But he actually does do something, and again, the people who made the show were fans of the comics, and you saw a lot of stuff from the comics on this show, and especially with the scene in question. Um, Give me a second. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's walking there. With the scene in question where dun dun dun, Magneto takes the animanium out of Wolverine.
Yep.
When that scene happened, I'm like, they're not gonna fucking do it, are they? Like, because he fucking stabs um, Magneto, and that was a kind of a complaint for Wolverine in this cartoon was like, he has these claws, but I ever actually seen him stab anybody, and then he finally stabs Magneto. You see blood coming from the claws. You're like, yes, yes, I love it. And then Magneto takes the animanium out of his body, and you're just like, you're like Xavier in that situation. Eric, for the love of God, don't.
Yeah.
And he does it, and you're just like, oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
Like,
that scene was gnarly. That scene was pretty gnarly. Like it
mm,
for a 3-part season finale that needed to happen because everything was so frantic. They were trying to, implore Magnus to stop, to restore everything. And that, Wolverine, stabbing Magneto was, it escalated from that all the way to Magnus ripping the animanium out of his, out of Wolverine's body. That was just gnarly. And then everything else that followed was just holy shit. Like,
all the cameos.
yeah, all the
Well,
cameos to just all the violence, the callbacks, Ro getting her shine, even the even Cable, poor Cable,
mm,
got his arm ripped off, and he Bastion used Cable's arm to form a new body because he's a techno what's it called? I know a pyrokinetic, telekinetic. He can basically control machines.
right.
Technomancy, something like that. For the love of me, I can't like remember the right word for it, but yeah,
Mm.
and that was pretty cool. Him doing that made him like it gave me like T-1000 vibes. Um, I wouldn't say the T 3000 because Terminator Genesis was just for a guilty pleasure movie. It just wasn't good, but I'll just say the classic T-1000 vibes that Bastion gave. And he did things. It wasn't just a one dimensional villain, which a lot of the TV shows, movies. They have a lot of those nowadays. So I'm glad he had some depth to him. That he had like more layers. I'm very, I was very enthused about that, and everyone had a chance to shine. But I don't know. I'm definitely like more and more. I'm like, yeah, Magneto has a point. Like,
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't, cause like nearly cause genocide by turning off all power on Earth, but you know, it is, it is what it is. And then of course the ending for season finale where everyone gets getting spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But this is not spoiler heavy, but it'll be spoilers. At the end of the finale, we have the X-Men, presumed missing or dead. And we see, I think one of my favorite cameos, we see Apocalypse.
Mm.
That was pretty dope. So it's like they're already setting the stage for season 2 with all the arcs where, the X-Men are split, they're across time. And, on Earth, Forge and Bishop, they're trying to, figure out where the X-Men are. And that's season 2 is gonna be really dope. It's gonna be
Hmm.
really dope. Um,
We're going to get more appearances. I mean, from the way it looks, we're going to get, other mutants that haven't showed up, like, Magic and Colossus, Scarlet Witch, fucking Quicksilver. Just,
yeah,
oodles and oodles of mutants.
yes,
That's what I'm here for. Just, yeah, just when I figured it was going to be Apocalypse, but as soon as on the caption it said Egypt, I went, Apocalypse!
yeah,
And lo and behold, you see a young Ensa Bodner, and and just that ending with Beast holding Xavier, going, "Oh dear," and then it just goes to credits.
yeah,
Um, and then you see I guess present day Apocalypse or future Apocalypse at Genosha with
yep,
Gambit's card going, "Oh my children, so much death." It's just like, all right, so they're bringing Gambit back as a horseman,
yep,
which this whole show's been dope. But aside from the Mojo episode, everything about this show I think has been damn near perfect. If dare I say perfect.
yeah,
Um, it's exceeded my expectations of the show because when they announced X-Men 97, it's going to be a continuation of the show. I'm like, is it going to be like, is it just going to be like a member berries nostalgia show, where it hasn't really grown up? But no, after episode midway, probably in the episode where Madeline Pryor becomes Goblin Queen, I'm like, oh, so the show has grown up a little bit. And then after episode 5 in Genosha, you're like, yeah, we've definitely grown up. Like this show has definitely grown up. It's really not for kids at all.
yep,
It looks like it has like an anime feel to it with the animation. Like
right,
they didn't try to do the what if animation, which that was another thing I was kind of worried about. Which I do like what if. But for this, it was like they borrowed from the old school '90s animation, but tweaked it a little bit and gave it a little bit of that anime feel, and it worked. It worked just for that show.
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, this is not just my favorite Marvel thing. This is probably one of my favorite shows of the year. And this year there's been a lot of good shows coming out, like Shogun and Perish, what have you. And X-Men 97 is definitely on my list of my favorite shows. Like period.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. That we got something good from Marvel. All things considering the amount of just dog water, hot dog water that we've been getting from.
And Chocolate Starfish, don't forget
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a good album from Limp Bizkit.
that.
that brings me back to WrestleMania 17. Uh really, like, I think that's one of my favorites, but I definitely think it's like one of the greatest. Not the greatest, but one of the greatest. We could have that conversation. We could definitely have that conversation another time. But
Mhm.
yeah, just the fact that we get something this good from Marvel in a long time. And this is where we were talking about the other day. I had sent you a post just to get, conversation stirred, just stirring. And there's this thing going around that, yeah, you have people aren't watching enough people aren't watching X-Men 97 because we know it's good. We know how good the show is, but and this is what I was asking you before, you know, off, you know, off the pod, away from the pod. Do you think that with all the bad will that Disney Marvel has generated in the past couple of years with all the stuff that they've been putting out and people just tuning out because again, after a while people just tune out. They're like, all right, I'm good. I'm not gonna, watch anything Marvel, anything Disney. So when they do put something out that's good, are those people coming back, or they just like, okay, they're done. They're just lapsed fans that won't return or have a least likely chance of returning. I want to know your thoughts on that.
I mean, yeah, we did talk about it, and I think I think I probably overreacted because I was in an X Men, kind of, I was kind of like junking on the X Men. I'm like, what, and then I actually did some research afterwards where I just looked at Nielsen ratings, and there's a little bit of truth to it where like there's shows on Paramount Plus that have bigger ratings than X Men '97, which is just insane to think about. But yeah, there is a little bit of truth to it. I think what I was kind of more kind of like really, Ruben, was the fact that it was
Yeah,
just like a video of like, you
yeah,
know, comic guy 97 on YouTube, blah blah blah. I'm like, come on, dude. But yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of truth to it where uh, Disney Plus did lose a lot of subscribers because there are people that, and it's not just Marvel, it's Star Wars. People are mad because they ruined Star Wars, and I can't really speak on that because I'm not really a Star Wars guy.
yeah,
But yeah, same thing with Marvel. I mean, now they're in the process of kind of like going back to, day one ish, as the Usos would say, quality over
mhm,
quantity.
yeah,
Yeah, there is a little bit of truth to it that, Disney is losing subscribers, and, you're having people that are latching onto other people's Disney Plus accounts, watch X-Men 97 or whatever the fuck they're watching on Disney Plus. And now Disney Plus is going to start cracking down on password sharing, which, oh boy, kind of like, Netflix did.
yep. Not a
But
fan of that, but
right, yeah, neither am I. But I had to get my own Netflix account instead of using my dad's because they're doing that password sharing shit. But oh well. But yeah, it's a thing of like it's not that the show's bad. The show's great, but I like you said, maybe there aren't enough people watching because a lot of people just said bye byes to Disney Plus, and now there's all this talk of more bundles about more streaming services joining up. Like, was it HBO Plus and Disney Plus? Or not HBO Plus. Jesus Christ, HBO Max. HBO Max. See,
yeah,
people, I'm dying. HBO Max, Disney Plus, and I think like another streaming service are going to join up, and it's like, yeah, more
yep,
monopoly in fucking Hollywood. So, but yeah, there might be a little truth to that, but I don't know. Just it's more of a Disney problem than a viewer problem.
yeah. I would definitely agree with that, considering the amount of just subpar garbage that Disney has put out. And like you mentioned with Star Wars, Star Wars. Here's the big three. You know, talking about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. The big three in terms of like cultural like phenomenon is definitely Star Wars. Then you have Lord of the Rings. And then you
Mm,
have um the fandom, like the fandom for those two, and then another one I would say Doctor Who.
right.
Like don't those fans are very passionate. They don't like it when their shit's like messed with. And you see Star Wars how like how the decline of Star Wars is real, like seen in real time. Same thing with Doctor Who. Like I don't watch Doctor Who, and I'm just like, yo, like what are they doing? Like just watching from afar, it's like this is dog water. Like what are they doing? And then they wonder why, hey, how come no one's watching my stuff? And it's like, well, you're telling people if you don't like it, don't watch it. And then when people take that advice, you can't cry that, hey, no one's watching. And then they'll just double, triple, quadruple down and just call those lapsed fans um bigots and misogynists and all types of ists and phobes. And it's like when you insult the intelligence and when you just demonize the people that you need people to consume your content and you're demonizing them, when you do that, you end up just losing those fans forever and they're not going to come back. And that's how these shows collapse because no one's watching, not enough people are watching. And I do sincerely hope that with X-Men being as good as it was in this season, I hope that season 2 is just as good or even better, and that more people will come back and watch. And also on the side that matters, on the side of the content creator, the producer, the distributor, that being Marvel and Disney, they need to put their asses in gear and just focus on just less is more. Put out content that people will love. Because you try to please everyone by doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you're not gonna get anywhere. But you just gotta put out the content that we had when we received from X-Men 97, like more of that, more of No Way Home, more of what brought Marvel to the dance. Not none of this diversity, inclusion, everyone gets a participation trophy. That hasn't worked. And companies see that. They see when their balance sheets are in the red, they'll be like, this isn't working. We're losing money. This is not good. It's not good for our bottom line because that's what they care about is their bottom line. And they're gonna do what they need to do to make the company more money and in turn make them more money. So I think that monetary incentive will be there for them to say, all right, let's just put out more X-Men 97, maybe do the Amazing Spider-Man, the animated series.
Hmm.
Um then
Avengers.
yeah, the Avengers. Just put just less. Just less is more. Give us Netflix Daredevil on Disney Plus. Just do that.
which
Um
is which is apparently what they're doing.
they better. If okay,
Right.
you heard it here as I'm sipping on my old fashioned. If Daredevil Born Again has the same feel as Netflix's Daredevil, I will get a subscription. I will get I'll get the whatchamacallit, the trio, the Hulu, Disney Plus, ESPN. I don't even watch ESPN. I will I will purchase it with my own money. If
Mm.
if they're doing if it's up to par, if it's up to standard, I will purchase the bundle. So all of you guys listening, ladies and gentlemen listening, if uh Daredevil, the new Daredevil is good, I will purchase the bundle, the Hulu, Disney Plus, and the ESPN Plus. I will purchase it.
Right. Right, because like, so they just made the announcement at one of their like convention things. I think not D12, it's called something else, but like, so now it's going to be 9 episodes. Um, Originally it was, I think it was going to be like 18 or 16 episodes, which I was like, I don't know. And from the way it sounded, and I'm just going by word of mouth of people who have sources,
Right.
it was kind of like the show Spin City,
Mm,
which I mean, Spin City was a fine show. Michael J. Fox was funny on the show, but Daredevil and Spin City, and yeah, and I didn't hate She-Hulk the way other people did. I just thought it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And then Daredevil came out and had a few comic quips. Which, if anyone has read a Daredevil comic book, Daredevil is kind of snarky and has comic quips, but that's neither here nor there. That's what they were going to do with the show, which apparently Kevin Feige stepped in and said, "Nah, no, change this shit." Which good on Kevin. Which that's when they changed their ideology on how they do TV shows. Which for the longest time they were doing their TV shows the way they would do their movies, which apparently that's a big no-no. You need a showrunner and you need a Bible, is the way they described it. So they found their showrunner, they found their new writers, which I think is the writers from the Netflix show, if I'm not mistaken, or some of them at least.
yeah.
And 9 episodes, like okay, that's all you need. Just a lot of what works with Daredevil is not just the comic book stuff. It's in my opinion, it's the lawyer stuff. It's the courtroom stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's a lawyer.
That
Being that
aspect
I'm
I
a
liked. I'm sorry. That aspect I like of the Netflix
right,
Daredevil show. Like, it had a good core cast of characters. It had both the vigilante side that was Daredevil, and the double of Hell's Kitchen, and then you had uh the lore aspect, which we all liked. And I think if She-Hulk had that same like duplicity, like that same like contrast where you had She-Hulk, She-Hulk being She-Hulk, and then you had the lore aspect, I thought it could have been a better show, but they just went in there with this, feminist crap, and it's like, yo, it just just because just because you can doesn't mean you always should. That's always the model. Certain things you shouldn't
right.
do, even though you think you can, or oh, it's possible. No, like She-Hulk wasn't. It wasn't good. It had like I like She-Hulk like from not much so from the comics, but also from playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I was
Mhm.
introduced to She-Hulk, and I was like, yo, this character's dope. So it's like then I went to the comics and did a little digging, and I was like, yeah, this character is dope. Like I see why people like her. That she's one of the fan favorites. And then when we finally got it in live action, it was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, you know, to
It just wasn't a good look, like on
yeah,
some levels, because like they really try to hammer home the comedy, and sometimes the comedy was funny, sometimes the comedy was like, why are you doing comedy in this scene? Like, just this just seems like you're trying too hard with the comedy,
yeah,
which we're in a new era of like, well, before supposedly they're going back to being different, but I don't know, we'll see. But like, yeah, just the comedy, just like they were trying too hard, and I'm not the one who I'm not a lot of the feminist diversity stuff doesn't bother me like it does some people, but then there just sometimes where it just doesn't feel organic or natural. And a lot of the feminist stuff in here just felt very shoehorned in, to where it felt like you were just beating me over the head of like, blah blah blah. Women are great. Women are awesome. Like, all right, I love women. All right, chill. All right, cool. Just where's the story? Where's a good story with this? And I thought that Tatiana Maslany, I think she's good. I think she's a very attractive woman, but I think you could have found someone better than her.
I would
Like,
agree. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, Aubrey Plaza, I thought would have made a better choice. And Maybe it's just because I have a fetish for Aubrey Plaza. I don't know why, but uh, she's gonna be in a Marvel show as well, so that's gonna be awesome. But
Nice.
I just, just it's a show that should have been so much better than it actually was, and it fell flat in some aspects. And same thing with Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I think, could have been so much better, but they just were mixing in the comedy and like the tones were just off putting. Like
Yeah.
there are some points where like it was dramatic and it was working. Um, especially with Hawkeye's family and the scene where he has his earpiece out and his son's calling him, and Kate Bishop has to like write everything down that his kids tell. That was very heartwarming.
Yeah.
Um, and just like the weird comedy that they were trying to mix in, I'm like, this just isn't working. The stuff with Kate Bishop and Yolana. I think it's her name, Yolana, I believe it.
Yeah.
Again, maybe just because I just have a thing for Florence Pugh, but I
Yeah.
just thought those two had great chemistry working together. Her calling her Kate Bishop, and I just thought was
Mm.
awesome. And her eating mac and cheese, just two of my favorite things
Yep.
together. I don't know. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, Marvel. But yeah, just like a lot of their shows, other than WandaVision, which I thought was great from beginning, middle, end. Um, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, I like. I just think that was the victim of like COVID reshoots. Every other and people love Loki. I didn't love Loki. I didn't hate it. I was just kind of like, it's a little bit too British mystery science theater for me. Maybe a little Doctor Who-y for me, but I do agree it looks different. It's not the same Marvel stuff that we're getting where it's like overly saturated comedy and overly saturated CGI. It looks like it's done on like an independent movie budget. And I think that's
Yeah.
great. Everything else they've done, there's been shows where I'm like, I like parts of this show. I just don't like the whole show.
Yeah.
I like the beginning of Secret Invasion, but the ending was like,
Dog water.
holy
Just
thing.
dog water is totally that is an abomination that we will never speak of on this podcast again. That was
Right.
horrible. It
It's
was
like
horrible.
let's have all these scrolls, but let's have them at their own scroll base, but they're actually in their human form and not in their scroll form. It's
Yep.
like, okay, all right,
Yeah,
okay,
that was a letdown because I was really into, Secret Invasion storyline, the Secret Wars, Secret Invasion. Like I was all into that in the comics, and I was like, this is just in name only. This is not like taking what we had in the comics and putting it into the into live action. Very it was just very lazy, paint by the numbers. They made one of like Marvel's beloved characters in of Sam Jackson playing excuse me,
no problem.
Sam, took Sam Jackson, Samuel Jackson, and just like, yo, like what did they do to what the hell did they do? Like it's just a moping, just moping, shell of a man. It's like Nick Fury was just like he was cool in all the Marvel movies, and then in the latest batch of movies that he's been in, he's just been cast like it felt like he was cast by two different people. Like
Right,
shit does not make any sense, and it's just yo, like what the hell? Like, don't they watch their own material? Oh, I guess because it's just too much of a chore to watch. Have us, the audience, have to watch all these films, all these TV shows to get to current day, and it's like no, it shouldn't have to be a homework assignment to to watch like a movie or a TV show. Like, no, it shouldn't have to be like that. There was rumors that, and he posted this on Twitter that soon, like going forward with Marvel, they're not going to like they're gonna have these shows be like in their own world. These Marvel shows, they're not gonna have it be interconnected, which
Well, I don't. I think it's more so like they're still in the MCU, but it's not going to be like, hey, this is an MCU show. Like this is connected to a bigger universe. Like we know that, but it's better to have these shows stand on their own 2 feet rather than just be a thing of like, hey, what's Captain America up to? Like, don't give us don't set up these shows to where it's getting the character over, like in wrestling. Get the character over,
yeah,
and you know don't use it to where it's just like we have to get something else over. Like, yeah, it's a story, but we're going to connect to Secret Wars. We're going to connect to, Deadpool, Wolverine. It's like, no, this is its own show. We want to connect it to this. We know it's like an X-Men 97. It's like, yeah, that was they knew that a lot of these other characters existed. We knew Captain America was in this universe with the X-Men. We knew Spider-Man was there. We knew Iron Man. We knew Daredevil was out there somewhere. But they're out there doing their own shit, and the X-Men are doing their own shit. But when things start getting interwoven with each other, that's of course when they're going to show up. And they did it in a way that made sense and that didn't make both characters either look weak or strong or overshadow each other. So,
yeah,
um, I don't know. I liked Echo. I just didn't like the ending. I thought it could have used more episodes to kind of like really develop the characters. What I did like about Echo was that it felt like it was its own show, and that it wasn't trying so hard to connect to another thing. Which in the post credit scene it did, but it did in a way that made sense. It connected to Daredevil Born Again, which made sense. Like it did it in the post credit scene for the end of the show, not for the whole show. So shows like Daredevil Born Again and Agatha All Along, and there's another Ironheart, I believe, where they're going to focus more on getting these characters over and making us care about it rather than connecting to something else.
right. Yeah, I just think the end it all boils down. Less is more. They need to have more competent writers because the main issue is if you have too much content, there's so much of a oversaturation of content, then the writers are just going to be lost in the sauce because there's too much to remember. And it's like, well, put out a sizable amount of content, have that continuity, and then things will make sense if you just put out shows without having them tied together. Because you can have continuity across the board and still have things be in their own world. And then when things need to like coalesce, then it will make it'll make sense. But when you just put too much content out and then characters aren't matching up, timelines aren't matching up, it will cause problems. And I think the best solution to all this is just less is more. I think it's just too late. I think the damage is done just because there's so much bad will that people are just like they checked out. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm hope I'm wrong, and there'll be a resurgence, and Marvel and Disney was go back to what made them special. But I think just too much time has passed when you can build up a fan base for a decade and it could be easily destroyed in less time, a fraction of the time. And we're seeing that with Disney. And yeah, they start trying to put out good content. I like X-Men 97. I like what they're doing. I'm hoping that the other shows that come out, the other movies that come out are, that are decent, that are, good and palatable. But it's like it's just too late, especially when a lot of fans are just like, yo, like deuces, ooses, I'm out. It's like you people have given things a chance after chance after chance, and it's like it's actually getting worse. So I think, in my opinion, and again it's an opinion, they I hope they turn around. I don't think I think it's too far gone, but maybe time will tell, maybe I'm proven wrong. But I just think too much time has passed, too much bad will has been generated that you have people just tune out. People just are exhausted. they're just exhausted from just terrible writing, terrible movies, one-dimensional characters. They're tired of this women power, girl power. And listen, as a fan of many franchises that have women leads, women, characters, one being Metroid, the Metroid series,
Mhm.
Samus Aran, she's a woman main character in her franchise. You have Terminator, Sarah Connor, she's a badass.
Ripley.
Ripley from the Alien franchise, another one. It's like we don't hate women, we just hate women being written terribly. And I think men write women much better than women can, because you see with She-Hulk, it was a woman writer, not good, terrible. This is really bad. The Marvels, women, terrible. Like I can go down the list. This is not good. The track record is there. Not only they can't write, they can't lead, they can't direct. It's just the proof is in the pudding. It's there. It's like it's not me just just picking things off from the sky. It's just the proof is there. You can look up the showrunners, you can look up the directors, the producers, the writers. You can do that, but it's just it has to be said. Like men write women better than women can, and it's just like you see what all these shows. So it's like people are fed up. They're like, "Yo, I'm good. Deuces, ooses." I
Well,
got yeah,
I'm sorry, but like I just, in my opinion, I think the reason why maybe men write women better is just because they don't try. Well, maybe that's not the case because there's been a lot of bad, women stuff written by men. But like,
yeah,
lately, as of late, even in comics, men write women better because they just try to write them as people and not try to shove it down your throat of like, girl power. I'm a woman. Da da da. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. Da da da. Like, it's like again, we talked about this at nauseum. That horrible Batwoman TV show where
oh yeah,
I never watched one episode. I watched the trailer and it was just hilariously and almost offensively bad about how they took this character that I don't think really anyone cared about. It's like, okay, maybe you can do something interesting with this. And then you saw the trailer, you're like, no. Like in the trailer where she sees the Batman suit and she's like, I need to make changes for it. And was it not Lucius Fox, but his son is like, the suit is literal perfection. She goes, yeah, and the camera goes up to her face when it fits a woman, and then it just plays this really bad, like dollar store Ariana Grande music where it's just somebody going, I'm a woman, I hate men,
yeah,
and it's just
yep,
we don't need that. We need just write characters that are relatable and are likable and that we care about. Just and again, I'm not the one to beat my chest and hit beat the drum of like woke, everything's woke, which I fucking hate when people say everything's woke. It's stupid. Just you don't know what woke means anymore. Shut up. But there are just some things I look at and go, yeah, you're not helping yourself with this kind of bad writing with these Mary Sue kind of characters, which again, another term I hate using, but Ant-Man the Wasp, they really did the Mary Sue thing with the daughter, which I'm like, ugh. So just I don't know, just write characters that we care about, write them like human beings, write them having problems that we can relate to, that we can believe that they can relate to, and just let this shit happen organically. Just don't try to force it. Make it happen organically, and when you're introducing new characters, have them earn it. Have them earn their powers, like Iron Man did, like Cap did, like Spider Man did, like Wolverine did. Just stop with this whole I have these powers. I know how to use them. It's just like
yeah. Like
no, just
like a good friend of mine, he always asks me, "Yo, Ruben, how come Samus Aran from the Metroid franchise? How come every time I play a Metroid game, she somehow loses her powers, and I had to go get them back? I gotta go all the you know." I gotta get all the suit upgrades. I gotta get all the missile upgrades, all the beam weapons, all the miscellaneous stuff, from her arsenal. Like, why can't I start the game with all her, with her like her prime or best upgrade? Why can't I do that? And I explained them like it wouldn't be fun. Like you could just breeze through the game because you have everything. You have all. You don't need to get one item so you can go get the other item in this area that you couldn't access before. That there's this progression, this, like you mentioned, you got to work for it. You got to work to go to these areas in the game, to traverse through the game. And in order for you to do that, you need to go through the adversity. You got to get all these power ups. You got to beat the bosses. You got to uh, use these power ups and learn how to use them effectively and wisely so you can traverse through the area. And it's like you can't do that if you have all the upgrades, because you could just, you basically like the, the T-1000 just going through, just, excuse me, the Terminator from the original Terminator, and just going and just shooting up everyone, in the police station. Like you didn't earn it, you just going in there, just guns a blazing. You don't have to do much of anything because you're powered up. Like you literally, you're a walking weapon. So I just think the writers, I mean, not all of them, but the majority of writers nowadays, they're just incapable of doing that. They're incapable of writing good characters because they themselves don't understand diversity. They do not understand how it is to struggle and to grind to where they need to be, because more likely they've been given a ride, or they themselves believe that grinding and going through adversity is bad. Like it's oppressive for people to go through, character development, growth, change. And I think the reason why I say that it's just too late for the majority of stuff that we're gonna get. I mean, I'm again, I'm hope I'm wrong, but proof is in the pudding. Hopefully, we get a new crop of writers and directors and producers that will just can write, but also are given the freedom to write good, compelling stories, good character arcs. Because what we've been getting now overall has just been, dog water. What we've been getting in Marvel has just been dog water. I hope we get more of X-Men 87. I hope that Daredevil is, a good show. I hope that the upcoming Marvel films are just great writing, a mix, just a good mix of good writing, good storytelling, good characters, and just a sprinkle in a comedy. Not too much comedy, because you put too much comedy, is gonna make the whole stew bad. Um, but yeah, that's this again. We could talk about this. Like this could be the whole podcast, but um, it's just, I guess I'm passionate about it because we know where Marvel was, and just to accept mediocrity, I'm not a fan of that. Like I like to see, you know,
Hmm.
everything. Like I like to see people do their best. And the issue that I have, not more so with the woke ideology, even though it is, I do have an issue with that, is more so the narcissistic tendencies that people have to think that they deserve to have like their own TV show. They deserve to have themselves self inserted when they they think dealing with adversity is a bad thing. Like I mentioned earlier, in order for you to grow and develop as a human being, you need to go through adversity. You gotta scratch and claw. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's some people in life that have a head start, a much further head start than you do. That doesn't make them bad people. It just means that they have an edge. And if we were in that position where we had that edge, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be ashamed of it. I'll be like, hell yeah, like that means I'm ahead of the game, I'm ahead of the curve. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just this mentality that comes from the woke ideology and it's taught in these universities is that just everything should be given to you. You shouldn't have to work for everything. You should get a free ride. You shouldn't have to, you know, gain the tools necessary, knowledge. You don't need to obtain knowledge. It's just what you know is what you know, and the world should bend at your will. You shouldn't have to deal with adversity. You shouldn't have to deal with being told no. And that is my main issue. That is the beef I have with the woke ideology. And I didn't mean to get into that, but it's just it ties into what we're watching. It ties into what we're viewing. Because a lot of times you see what these people are thinking that, oh, I don't gotta work for nothing. Oh, this the world is against me. I'm right, everyone is wrong. You see that in all these TV shows and movies, and it's like, who in the hell thinks who thinks like this? And it's again, people that write this shit, they think that way. And we're getting that on our big screens and super screens, and it's terrible. It's absolutely dog water. And I'm not for it. And you know, this needs to change so that way we can get back to what entertainment should be. Just fun, just entertainment is what it is. Fun. It's it's you know in depth, it's enthralling, it's immersive, not a lecture from a college professor that's miserable with his life and more likely is two steps from being divorced. Like, I'm not for that. I want to have fun. I want to be engaged. And where we're getting, you know, minus a few, there's a few shows out there that are fun. Not saying everything is bad, but it's just the bulk of what we're getting is just terrible. Um, but let's see, Dan, we almost went an hour, but I think this is fine. We needed to get we need to get all this out. Um, we need to get it out. So yeah, just in closing, I just want entertainment to be where it was. I want it to be great as it was before. Just fun, just enthralling, engaging, immersive. With lessons learned, just messaging, but the positive kind of messaging, not the type of message that we're getting. But yeah, hopefully again, the projects that coming up from Marvel and Disney, I hope that they're good. If not, you guys and ladies can tune into to Ruben Prime and Drew Yari on Culture Attack. And we're gonna, at least me, I'm going to eviscerate all the stuff that's just garbage. If the stuff that comes out is garbage. If it's good, we're gonna talk about how good it is. But if it's bad, guarantee on a future episode we're gonna eviscerate it because it's only fair.
Mhm.
It's only fair. So that with that being said, let's talk about this Tiffany Stratton business. So Tiffany Stratton, up and coming uh women's wrestler in WWE. She was in the developmental in NXT. She's she's like what, like 20, 22, 23.
Yeah,
Um
around there.
yeah, she's young and she will definitely be a world champion in by the before this year is up. She'll be a women's world champion without a doubt. And she's been presented very well. Fans are into her. She's beautiful. I mean, nothing wrong with a blonde, with a blonde white girl with nice rack, but she is
Mhm.
very talented. She is
Mhm.
little like she's talented for how young she is, but she's gonna only increase in what she knows over time. And of course, it seems like people don't like that. And again, you don't have to like Tiffany Stratton, but it's one thing not to like someone. Okay, not my cup of tea. Move on. like, that is life. But just these allegations last week of Tiffany Stratton being racist just because of a Instagram story. And there's gonna be blame put on her because it's not like all the IWC blah blah blah. You're just trying to find dragons to slay, which they do. But my issue is that people are more concerned. They're more concerned about people. They're not concerned about the person being racist. The the whole racism like as a whole instead of and I talked about this earlier, trying to word it, but essentially people are much more concerned about instead of actually teaching people, educating people, about racism, why it's wrong, and be like, all right, this is not a good look by her, this is an L. But then instead, they will blow something up. They blow something up that's a nothing burger and just try to find things that are racist. They'll just try to, pick things from the sky, just create something out of nothing. And when I saw the footage in question, from her IG, because people screen capped it, I'm just like, that's it. And we're gonna play the audio because I'm just like, really, that's what people were getting mad about. I'm just, people are so soft, Drew. It's
Yep.
just, I'm just like, wow. Imagine if you guys were on the Call of Duty, uh,
Yeah.
the Call of Duty, the lobbies during the Xbox 360 days. Y'all will cry. Y'all will actually jump off a bridge because the amount of softer than dolphin shit, softer than Charmin Ultra toilet paper the amount of thin skinned people is insane. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, just I don't know. Show them an episode of Georgia Championship, or I think it was Georgia Championship Wrestling, where fucking Ole Anderson was like slapping Baby Doll around.
Yeah.
Like show them that. Show them ECW from the early '90s. Show them Monday Night Raw, where Jerry Lawler openly calls Goldust the F word. Which
Yep.
I'm not gonna say what it is, but you can kind of guess what it is. Just
that was funny. I'm not gonna lie.
but Dusty Rhodes no sons. I'm not gonna say it, but
yeah.
just that video, because like I obviously didn't see it when it was live. I just saw someone post it, and when I saw it, I went, "Ooh, that's weird." And then after a while, I just looked at it again. I'm like, that's kind of tame. I mean, for today's standards, probably, but then again, just everybody's just sensitive about everything. But it's just like, yeah, you're about to play it right now, so.
Alrighty. Yep, that's it. It's audio taken from but
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, but so like again, this is just my theory. I think somebody obviously made this video for Tiffany or just sent it to her, and she saw it and she didn't turn up the volume, because I know on Instagram you have the option to, like, if someone shares a video with you, you can just watch the video without the sound.
Yep.
So I'm gonna guess somebody sent her this video like in a direct message, and she saw the video, and maybe she was on a plane or somewhere public, and she just saw the video of her, like, punching Jade Cargill. She's like, oh, okay, cool. I can share that, and I can, like, hype up the match out with Bianca, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe somebody else saw the video in the company and went, do you know what you just posted? And she's like, yeah, it's just a video of me hitting, Jade. Have you actually listened to the video with the volume up? And she saw the video and she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's what happened. I'm going to guess that's what happened, because again, it's kind of a tame video, but it's also something that's just like, yeah, that's not the smartest thing to post if you actually heard what was on it.
Yep.
So just again, I'm going to keep this short and sweet because we're kind of running on time. But it's whatever fame you get, there's always going to be that small, group of people that are just mentally unwell that want to see you fall because not because they know you personally, but because they just don't like your character. Because there are people that don't like Tiffany, and
Yep.
because it's the reasons of like, oh, white big titty girl, or plastic Tiffany is what I've heard. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have time to convince you people, but yeah, they don't like Tiffany for reasons, um, and they just want to look for any reason to take her down.
Yep.
So they found their way, and obviously she's not being taken down, because WWE's like, yeah, we're not mad at you. It was a mistake. Just blah blah blah.
All right.
So yeah, just there's always going to be people out there that are going to want to take you down, regardless of what profession, whether you're a movie star or a TV star or an athlete or a wrestler. They're going to want to find ways to fuck with you and to make sure you never have a career, which again is just stupid on their part. But yeah, I think it was just Tiffany. Someone sent her a video and she didn't listen. She didn't hear the volume and she posted it, and that's what happened. So,
Yep.
again, just my opinion, my theory.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely good theory right there. Because you just check on. You watch a video on IG, and some of these videos have like captions, so if you don't want to listen to the audio, you could just read the captions. And people will just they scroll, and then it happens. Maybe she just didn't hear the audio and she just posted it, and it's just like people will create imaginary dragons to slay
Mhm.
because they have nothing better to do. And it's like you can like not be a fan of someone and just move on, but with the issue with these people is that they they have to they create everything has to be they have to inject race into it. And I notice that nowadays, like everything is just so hyper uh everything's hyper like racial. And to me it's just like, can we just like, if you're not a fan of someone, can you just be like, okay, I'm not a fan of this person, just move on. Just move on with our merry day. It's not the end of the world. But to me, it just shows that people don't have nothing better to do with their lives.
No,
There was like a quote I was trying to find, um, which is like, again, hate that I can't
Pe-
find it, but essentially, yeah, we was gonna say something.
yeah, people online just mentally unwell. I mean, John Draper, our good friend, did a show about it on his Patreon where he just talked about not really dealing with the IWC anymore because you can't take it personally anymore because these people are not well. They are mentally unwell. They will look for any breadcrumbs that you leave on the ground and try to find something that isn't there.
Yep,
So I, I don't deal with the IWC, which is why anytime I post anything,
yep,
anytime I requote a tweet with something that sounds very either sus, as the kids say,
yeah,
I don't even really say anything. I'll just put
yeah,
HM, however M's you want to put. But
yeah,
it was just my way of like, this is a little sus, or this is kind of weird, or I know what I want to say. I just don't want to say it because I don't need people in my fucking mentions, coming at me.
yep,
And also, anytime I do post anything, I'll just set it to where only people that I follow and follow me can reply.
yep,
But people can still requote it, which is fucking stupid. But or I'll just turn off the notifications when it starts getting too crazy.
yeah. It's the best
So
way. That's the
yeah,
best way. Yeah. So let me share this really quick. I'm gonna move on to the last thing. Or we could still make it on time. So this is the quote. So this is on something I replied on to the whole Tiffany Stratton business. And this, again, not gonna name names, but He said this is an industry wide issue. Racism is acceptable in wrestling. Shaking my head. And then Kevin, Kev Castle. Shout out to Kevin Castle. Actually,
Hmm.
these kind of posts right here might be more the problem. And then Cutter, he said something that profound I was trying to say earlier, but I butchered it. I think most only care about yelling and screaming about perceived racism than generally caring about the actual issue. And is very true because you have people again creating imaginary dragons to slay and actually dealing with the problem. Because if you actually deal with the problem, then you got to face the fact that, oh, well, yeah, racism is something that's going to be around. Like it's never going to go away. But to face it and deal with it again, dealing with adversity, dealing with these problems, facing your problems is something that a lot of people are not capable of doing because they just want to yell about it and scream about it and actually dealing with it. And again, shout outs to kind of Kev Castle and to Cutter 35. He was very profound in what he's saying because it's true. Like whenever someone cries, when someone cries racism online, especially online, I'm just like, all right, let me see. And then I look, oh, look at that. It's a nothing burger. They got it from nothingburger.com. It's the biggest nothing burger since the burger was invented, and to me it's just, can you just like go outside? Like today was a nice day outside.
Hmm.
Went out, walked my dog, it was a very nice day, you know. Saw butterflies, flying around. I
No,
saw
I must get this girl fired for sharing a video that I'm pretty sure she didn't know what it was, but I gotta get her fired.
yeah, yeah, and that's just a sad life that these people live, and it's
Yeah,
like they live
yeah.
they live on Twitter. They're chronically online. To quote, I know it was John Draper that said that or someone, but yeah, just you know, shout outs to Kev, shout out to to Kev Castle, to Draper. Those guys, like those guys are hilarious. Their Twitter feed is hilarious. But yeah, just to
Yeah,
finish on this. Yeah, what was you gonna
I
say?
was gonna, I was gonna say like also Brian Last, like he's been very like on the like the latest episodes of Cornette. I used to listen to Cornette show in full, and these are
Yeah,
like 3.5, like 4 hour shows.
yeah,
And now I'm just like, all right, I need to listen to these in like small doses because Cornette can be a little bit too much at times.
yeah,
Um, understatement, but like, yeah, Brian Last has been very like vocal. He's been saying things about the IWC and like I don't have the exact quote, but he's like telling people in the IWC just like go out, get a job, and get your dick sucked.
yeah. I saw that clip. I saw that clip. Yeah, like I think there's a lot of sexually frustrated people online, and they see someone like Tiffany. I'm like, listen, Tiffany, mm, she
And
is
Samantha,
fine.
Samantha Irvin,
And
which
Samantha,
is which that's kind of vastly different, but it's
yeah,
kind of in the same ballpark of like Jim Cornette said nice things about Samantha. I mean, he said, I like her. She's good. She seems like she knows her shit.
yeah,
And she did an interview with Sam Roberts where she said, Jim doesn't like me because he says I'm too much, but it's his fault because I watched him growing up and I was a big fan of his, and I
yeah,
was a big fan of Shawn Michaels, and I watched ABC and D. So like, she's not just a very beautiful, very talented ring announcer. She's actually a wrestling fan. She grew up a wrestling fan, and not the I saw this on TV, so I want to do it because I want to become a movie star. Yada yada yada. Like, no, she impressed us, and she impressed Jim Cornette of the fact that she's actually a fan. And
right.
Cornette complimented her, and she retweeted the video saying, "Thank you, Jim," at Jim Cornette. And of course, how dare you? How dare you support this racism, madam? You are a racist. You're a racist and an awful person. And I hate you and die and blah blah blah. It's like,
Yep,
ugh. Go again, like Brian last said, go out and get your dick sucked. Go
please.
out, get a job, make some friends, and get your dick sucked.
Yep.
That's
That is the one of the quotable moments of 2024 from Brian Last. Um, yeah, and sometimes Jim Cornette could be like, could be like strong, it could be a little too much, but again, it's for another generation. That's why I don't. I don't take things, some of the things he says personally, because at the end of the day, if
Yeah.
you take it personally, then that lets you know that it's more of a you problem than a him problem, because he is who he is. I don't hate him. I haven't met him. I like, I like the stuff that he's done in wrestling, like the podcast. Yeah, some of his political takes are just like, this is
Mm.
not the best, but overall, like I don't hate the guy, and the fact that he complimented Samantha Irving, like that's pretty high praise. Like, like it's especially since Samantha Irving, enjoys Jim Cornette, and is like ton of black people enjoy Jim Cornette. So it's just again these people creating these dragons to slay, and yeah, sometimes Jim again he could be a little bit strong, off-putting whatnot. It could be a little brash, but I mean, in my opinion, I think we need a nice balance of just very upfront brash people, because if everyone wasn't, if less people are just to the point and brash, then life wouldn't be as funny and entertaining. And he calls out the bullshit. He's been calling out the bullshit in wrestling for the longest time, and it's like people hate him for that. If he was, on the jock strap of AEW, he will be having all the praises in the world, but he ain't
Mhm.
he ain't doing that.
Six
And
stars.
yep, 7 stars, 8 stars, 10 stars, 20 stars. Like there's all the stars in the galaxy, because just it's never enough. But it's just funny that there are more people being racist towards Samantha Irving, even though they were accusing Jim Cornette of being a racist. And it's like, that's interesting. It just goes to show that these people that cry about racism, they're the ones that are racist. And it's just something that I noticed with a certain demographic of people, certain group of people, that they will tell people, "Oh, we're against racism," and then if they go up against a person that happens to be a person of color, and then they don't toe the lines, or oh, you N word, you, but like it's like it never fails with these people. These people hang themselves with the rope that they have, and it's just like, keep exposing yourselves, and it just shows that these social justice warriors are the real racists out here. It's
Hmm.
just that they do a better job of hiding it, but you
Yeah.
know,
David Starr.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But shout
Eric,
outs to
Eric Eric Stevens. Joey Ryan. Yeah. Fuck all those fuckers.
yeah, 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 absolutely. But shout outs to up the cops are coming, because we're speaking too much truth on here.
Oh
Um,
shit. Damn it.
yep. It's like, damn it, fuck. But yeah, again, shout outs to Samantha Irvin. I like Samantha Irvin. She's not.
Love her.
She is again another gorgeous, a gorgeous woman, but she's talented, and she's into what she's doing. And
Right.
when you have that type of passion, I think that's more like admirable, and that's why people resonate with her, because not only she's attractive, she's hot, but she's definitely relatable in the sense that people have that connection with her. So we're, shout outs to Samantha Irving, and shout outs to Jim. Like I like Jim. Sometimes, again, a little bit too strong, but again, he's kind of like that chaotic, that chaotic neutral, I guess, that's needed, you know. But I don't hate him. Like I he doesn't know I exist. He doesn't, you know, we know he exists, but he doesn't know we exist. Like, just I think people need to just chill, get some sunlight. It's good for you. Definitely get at least 15 minutes. And then if you're melanated, you need 30 minutes of sunlight. It's good for you. I promise you, sunlight is good. You'll feel energized. You'll charge your batteries. You can go and conquer the world, or at least conquer like whatever you got going on. But at least you don't have to be online, chronically online on Twitter or on X, whatever you want to call it. But guess quickly we can just quickly talk about the whole Diddy
Yeah.
saga. So footage came out of Sean Diddy Combs beating up his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura at a hotel hallway in 2016, and it was just very brutal. He even like dragged her like by the hair, and I'm just over here like he's done, but it's a shame that he is not going to jail for all the other things that he has done. And we could try to play this clip here.
No, if it's all the same to you, I kind of don't want to watch the video.
Yeah, we'll
It's
play a
it's
little
it's
bit, play a little,
a
just a
rough
little
one.
bit of it. Yeah, not the whole thing. Let's
Motherfuckers in a
see.
towel doing this shit.
Yeah, in a towel. Yeah, yeah. All right,
Fuck,
just pause
fuck,
that there.
fuck, fuck.
Yeah. Um, but we could read the article here. But Sean Diddy Combs was seen shoving, kicking, and dragging his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a in a harrowing 2016 surveillance released Friday. This video, obtained by CNN and dated March 5th, 2016, shows the rapper and producer running after the singer down a hallway at the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City, Los Angeles. Then see we play some of the footage, but yeah, and Combs, who has a towel wrapped around his waist, and grabs her by the back of the neck and throws her on the floor while holding his towel closed with one hand and proceeds to kick her. The video shows. Then he grabs her purse and suitcase from the floor nearby the elevator bank before turning around and kicking Ventura again while she lies still on the carpet. Uh, Combs 54 briefly drags his then girlfriend by the sweatshirt before walking away. Ventura slowly stands up and appears to pick up a house phone on the hallway before Combs, still in his towel, returns and shoves her. A few seconds later, he sits on a chair and then grabs an object from the table and throws it at Ventura, according to the footage. So I think it was like a vase that he threw. And then of course Diddy's homes were raided as a part of a sex trafficking investigation, which, in my opinion, he's not gonna get like any heat for that. He's instead gonna get heat for beating up, his ex girlfriend, because my theory is that the reason why they raided his homes is to get all the footage, and they got the footage of him beating up Cassie was one of the pieces of footage that they confiscated during the raid, and Diddy paid off the Intercontinental Hotel $50,000 for them not to release the footage. So 50K. Oh, here's 50K. Don't show my the incriminating evidence of me beating the holy hell out of my then girlfriend. And maybe someone paid more to get it. If there was like other pieces of other like footage, but that is just my theory on this. But with all the things that Diddy's been accused of, and he even went on on Instagram and said that I'm gonna fight these allegations. These allegations are false, blah blah. But then days later, we get this, and it's like you can't you can't defend this. You can't defend this. Like you're done, Diddy. You're done. Career's over. And it's interesting when Diddy like settled out of court. Um, when Cassie brought up, when Cassie sued Diddy, early this year. Was it early this year? Last year? I think it was like, but recently.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Diddy just paid, just settle out of court. Okay, here you go. And people at first thought, oh, just this Cassie just doing the Me Too thing. But the thing is that Diddy has, his hands are dirty in more ways than one. and he's not a good person. He is, he's not one of the good guys, and especially all the sex trafficking allegations, and that's just the tip of the tip of the iceberg with him. All the all the theories that he had something to do with Biggie and Tupac's murder, and still to this day, I'm like, yeah, he had more to gain with those two out of the way. So it's like absolutely has something to do with it. And just the fact that the amount of power that he has in the industry, he can blackmail people, and he had all that footage. And of course, when my other theory is that um the raid happened wasn't to arrest Diddy. It was to kind of like, okay, your usefulness is no longer required. You're basically blacklisted. You're done. Your protection, your days are over, and we're gonna bury you with this. Not for the other stuff that you did, that there's evidence of, because that will implicate very powerful people, and they don't want that out. But we're just gonna get you on you beating up your then girlfriend, because that doesn't implicate us at all. Like, you just off the handle, just crazy lunatic. So that's my theory in all this, because with all the blackmail that goes on in Hollywood, and even in the entertainment industry, music industry, as well as in politics, and even the whole Epstein case as well, I think that there's way more to this. But again, that's just my theory. Um, while we have time, what are your thoughts on this?
Um, I'll be honest, I don't really have too many thoughts. I think you kind of already said everything that needed to be said. So I don't really think there's anything I can add to it. Um, yeah, Diddy's kind of cooked. Just there's I personally didn't know this because I was listening to Draper and B Show and Shaheen talk about it, where they had said, well, I think it was Shaheen that was more so talking about, because I think he has more connected roots to, like, hip hop, or the hip hop culture,
Hmm.
where, like, Diddy has kind of been known for just being a weird dude, like, just
Yeah,
really fucking weird. Because I think 50 Cent hates him.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
50 Cent's very open and vocal about, yeah, Diddy's fucking weird, because I think he offered to take 50 Cent shopping,
yeah,
which
yeah,
which
yeah.
which is weird. Like, another. I mean, if it's my dad being like, "Hey, you want to go get some new work clothes?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." But if it's like Diddy saying, like, "Hey, you want me to take you shopping?"
Yeah.
To ask another girl man to take you shopping, or no? Let me kind of reiterate that. If you're like 10 years old and your parents offer to take you shopping, or your sister, that's normal. But if another grown man is asking another grown man, "Hey, let's go on a shopping date," it's like, no, like, that's just weird and odd. And then that other video of P. Diddy dressed up as the Joker from The Dark Knight, yelling at some guy from the show Power. And like, this dude is literally thinks he's the Joker. Like, he's acting like the Joker, and he's talking like him. And he's
Yeah.
getting mad because this other dude isn't afraid of him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Diddy's a weird dude. Just with all the shit that's been coming out about him,
Here we go.
I, I keep calling him Diddy. Why the fuck am I calling him Diddy? Puff Daddy, whatever,
Yeah.
Sean Combs.
Yeah.
He's
Sean
just,
Combs. Yeah.
he's a really fucking weird, awful piece of shit human being.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm gonna close it out.
Yeah. It's this video's not loading up. Oh, there we go. Just play like a few minutes of this.
Pussy. Yeah. You, nigga. Yeah.
What's going on? It's InstaSnap TV with another exclusive.
Yeah.
Diddy got into an altercation last night on Halloween with Power series actor Michael J. Ferguson. We don't know for sure what lead up to it, but allegedly Diddy was annoying Michael with the Joker acting. It appears Michael was ready to throw hands with Diddy, who he taught was just some random guy.
I mean, up here.
Just 'cause I said it.
Yo. Okay. That's fucking disturbing.
Yep.
All right. In that case, on that note, that's the show. That's the show.
Sure.
That is the
That's
show,
all you
yo.
need. That's all you need to see.
That's all you need to see. Like Diddy is crazy, suspect as hell. Yeah, there's like a whole compilation of Diddy saying and doing such things. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. And also, I wanted to get into the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, but we'll talk about that on the next show because very peculiar, and it's something that I've been keeping tabs on because it's just a lot of rabbit holes that go into that. But yeah, that being said, it's on the show. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, don't be a Diddy.
No.
Don't be Sean Combs. Don't be dressing up as a Joker. Just saying and doing ridiculous shit. Harassing people. Not the way to go. What we can do is follow us on YouTube. Check out the Culture Attack YouTube channel for all things Culture Attack with myself and Drew Yari. Definitely check us out on Spotify and YouTube if you ever so desire, as well as coming soon. We have the clips on TikTok, YouTube, and IG as well. I still got to set up the Instagram account, and as well as got plans. We got so many plans, but definitely stay tuned to Culture Attack. Definitely follow me on Twitter or on X, however you want to call it, at Mr. Ruben Prime, and as well as follow my good friend Drew at DY Experience on Twitter,
Mhm.
X, still calling it Twitter, and definitely check out his wrestling podcast, The Experience, live after AEW Dynamite on the Wrestling Super Discord, and as well as on all major digital platforms, usually the next day or usually the next day, right? You post um the audio of your podcast, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, definitely check out if you prefer. And also he has a YouTube, so definitely check out um his YouTube channel as well. Everything that will be in the description below on YouTube and on the show notes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I've been Ruben Prime. He's been Drew Yari, and he's a champ for making it through over an hour and 30.
Mhm.
A little under the weather, but he made it. We made it, and we will see you guys next time, Lord willing. Peace.
Peace.